From high above.
As a reminder, everyone, if you want to start on the back, set like a 4-minute lap time.
From high above the Charlotte Motor Speedway here in the beautiful state of North Carolina tonight in Time. The Dynasty Racing League is on a collision course for a high-octane thriller on this iconic 1.5-mile oval. Race fans, good evening and welcome to Redline Racing Network as we get ready to rock and roll here tonight in primetime. After all, the nighttime is the right time for DRL in primetime. This is field currently under qualifying. Looks to be the biggest entry. The amount of drivers we've have entered competition so far this season could be north of 20 drivers, looking at a great turnout. Want to thank you all for strapping in along with us tonight as we cover all the action from the green flag to the checkered flag right here on Redline Racing Network. Let's take a quick peek at the weather this evening before things get underway. And again, you couldn't ask for anything better this time of the year. Sim time just clocking in after 5 p.m., or almost 6 p.m., I should say, 5:53 for all you military time fans, 17:53 the time on the clock. The wind this evening could be a factor, especially in Gen 4 configuration, currently hovering in that 6 to 7 mile an hour range, could be gusting 12 to 15 miles an hour at times. Ambient air temperature, beautiful, could ask for anything better, 78 degrees. Humidity, it's on the lean and mean side, just 31%, which means these cars are going to be making all the power under the hoods. Track temp could be something to keep an eye on as that's getting a little spicy, clocking in at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's certainly going to put some wear and tear on those tires, especially over the long run here tonight. Something this league is famous for is they average just over one caution per race so far throughout this winter season.
Can we make a couple of extra laps?
Go ahead and throw the timing tower up there so you folks can follow at home.
Exactly the restart zone.
Currently, Donald Hickson Jr., no surprise, looks to be the pole sitter here. His qualifying is coming to an end quick, fast, and in a hurry.
It's marked right on the wall. Like there's a couple of lines. It's
in
not
fact,
like
that is now confirmed. Donald Hickson Jr. once again going to be the pole sitter here tonight.
So it is.
As his field now gets ready to rock and roll behind that iRacing.com pace car.
Can I get a mic check, please?
Lines, at least for me.
Or you can. I hear you.
Let's send it down trackside. As this field now gets wrapped
So
and stacked, ready to rock and roll.
The barrier is horizontal line.
For some reason, I'm getting some lead over out of the driver Discord audio chat, so bear with me one moment. I'm going to step aside and correct that. There we go. That ought to clean that up just a little bit. We don't want to let all the driver's secrets, tricks of the trade, so to say, bleed over to the broadcast side of things. Sometimes strategy can leak over, and want to keep all those premiums and all of those secrets being shared about how to attack this racetrack in those drivers' chat and be respectful of that here on the broadcast side of things. See if we have a moment here to speak with our pole sitter tonight. We'll see if he's available for a quick interview here before this field begins to roll off. And unfortunately, I am not seeing Donald Hickson Jr. available. However, I do have the man, the myth, the legend available here. Let's see if we can talk with the faster pastor, Stoney Benfield. Matt up top in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I know you're getting ready to roll off, but do you have a moment, my friend?
Yes, sir. I do, Matt. How are you,
Yeah, let's
buddy?
take a
Hey,
look
man,
around.
I am doing great. I know the Faster
Yeah,
Pastor
good.
is
That'll
ready to rock and roll, and I know you have a bunch of your fans watching in
Alrighty,
the watching live on the
if you
broadcast.
guys think you
What
can
are your
handle
keys
single
to
file
success?
so
What are you going
everybody
to
can
be
see
able
the
to get
outside
done out
wall,
there on the racetrack that
we'll
should
do
help put
one
you in the
lap.
victory
So
lane
we are
tonight, my
not
friend?
going green, guys.
Well, Matt,
We are
I'm going to
not
try to
going
just take
green.
care of my car and my tires and take it easy and see how this thing unfolds. And I think we can have a good run tonight. We can stay out of trouble. Just be patient.
Hey, patience is a big key, and part of the success with this race car. Wish you the best of luck out there on the racetrack. Good luck tonight, and we look forward to speaking with
can
you
check it
after
out,
the
this
race should
backstretch
things go
wall
your
and
way
the
out there on the
transfer taper
racetrack, my
barrier
friend.
will give you a glimpse of the idea.
Hope
the
to be in
solid
victory
yellow
lane, Matt.
versus the
Thank you.
striped yellow.
Have a great run tonight. Good luck and
Thank you, buddy.
Godspeed.
Yes, sir.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, driver of the 75 ride, the one and
We are
only Stony
not
Benfield,
going
as he
green,
gets strapped
not
in, ready
going
to rock
green.
and roll here for 200 laps from the historic Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll go ahead and we'll leave him to it as we're going to rejoin now up in the broadcast booth.
Green, 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 green.
His initial green flag now in the air as these drivers
guys
now
able to see it?
smash on the gas.
It's like right
H.
before
Banner
the
climbing through
dogleg
the
and
floorboard
quad
here, and we are now underway
Yeah, I saw it. We got
from
it.
Charlotte Motor Speedway.
You might throw the caution because we're under green.
I think we can manually do it because if I throw a yellow, it's going to cost us 2 more laps.
Fair, fair.
Getting a note
All right,
from
Donald
race
and
control
10,
here
just
that
hold it
perhaps
around
we're going to scrub this
60,
start.
and we'll go green this time by.
They are going to go green this time by. Apparently, they didn't like the way something was staggered out there on the racetrack.
How about
Perhaps one of the
yellow and
cars
green
were
when
out
you
of
go down,
position.
so we all know.
So we're going to scrub that initial start.
Yeah,
we're
we'll
going to get
count
ready
it
to do
down,
this
please.
again here. And I believe they're going to count this down manually. Something you see once in a blue moon. It's time to wipe the visor, reach up, pull the belts tight one more time. The calm before the storm. Kick the clutch, hope that rear end doesn't bust. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Green flag in the air now officially for 200 laps around this 1.5 mile speedway. That 8 Bud machine. And oh, we have a very rare caution right off the bat here. Something you don't see very often here in the Dynasty Racing League. As soon as we get the green flag, we get an immediate yellow flag here. We've kind of been plagued with issues trying to get this race underway. The natural start was waved off. Then drivers did a manual restart. We got the official green flag. Ran about a half a lap at best. Then the caution flag now shows its face here. I'm not sure yet if this is going to be a caution for incident, as the drivers are now discussing that amongst themselves. So as soon as I have that information available, I will bring it to you here on the broadcast side of things. Getting some intel here that they may have been having a hard time here deciphering where the actual restart zone is. Remember, this is the legacy version of this racetrack. The restart zone, that's something that's been incorporated, into the Cup Series. More of the new wave movement of the modern era, if you will. And they're discussing the caution lights perhaps sticking on when the green lights should go on as well. And that seems to be the culprit here as to why we're having a tough time getting going. So we're going to give these drivers a chance to re-rack, restack the field once again. Third time's the charm, they often say. Hopefully that'll be the case as these lights are still on that iRacing.com pace car. And probably one of the wildest starts to a race you'll ever see. Check out the paint scheme on the 9 ride. Tops Markets. Something that I haven't seen since my time when I grew up in the Northeast, the Western New York region. Cool to see their colors being flown here tonight on that Dodge Intrepid. Currently paces in that second place position. I believe these laps are going to count, as caution laps do count. No change for position has happened out there on the racetrack. It appears as if the field has been frozen according to their initial starting position. Ken Robnett, the driver of that Tops 9 ride, iron the high side of the racetrack. You want to talk about a driver that's had a lot of momentum. I mean, that is the 8, Hickson. So good in qualifying. Reminds me a lot of Joe Nemechek. They used to call him Front Row Joe. And it seems that's all Donald Hickson knows is how to start these things up front, carrying the torch. His lights, I believe, should be going out this time by. We'll wait to confirm that. Let's go ahead and widen things out just a little bit here. Those lights are out on the pace car. So that Mustang goes dark, which means we're going hot. Once again here, this time by. Stoney Benfield, we spoke with him. Top of the broadcast gave us his keys to victory lane here. He's going to roll off in that 5th place position, or excuse me, 6th place. At 75 ride in that Ford Fusion. Keep an eye on him throughout the course of the evening. Pace car pulls off. The 8's going to have the button as he gets ready to uncork north of 900 horsepower in all of its glory. Green flag in the air, and we are now officially racing here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. The turns 1 and 2 complex. First 3 cars are single file. That's Hickson, Robnett, and Kyle Gray. Gary Farnsworth there in the 42 High Life machine. He looked to have some good pace out there underneath the hood of that race car in practice. As Hickson Jr. goes fast lap of the race, good for a 31.74. Side-by-side action here. The head cook, chief, and bottle washer, James Pandolf, already on the move here early, up 3 positions from where he started. He uncorked a howitzer here on that start of the race. Longtime competitor in the series, Brandon Broby. Oh, he just keeps on trucking. Whoa, get skinny, boys. This thing's just got wild for James Pandolf there from Bad Luck Racing. 22, Kenny Thompson going to squeeze in behind him now. And the man on the move also, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. TBB is FAST fast, as he now applies the pressure there to the 74. He's recovering this battle. Stoney Benfield, they don't call him the faster pastor for nothing. He just lives up to that name as he now turns the hot lap here. Just over 30 seconds, a 30.17. As Taylor Butcher Benjamin trying to make quick work of James Pandolf here. You see the give and take there as it's early in this race. The 74 going to come back and possibly try the crossover maneuver. As that 88 sends it in there in the middle. A little bit further back. Dave Acacia and the Killer Bee Special. Often preaches patience, racing the racetrack. Don't get caught racing the competition around you when you don't have to. And oftentimes he finds himself right in the thick of things, especially if there's some attrition out there on the racetrack. Cool, calm, and collective. That is Dave's MO, and it works for him very well. North of the border, here comes Mad Max in that EA Sports 96 throwback machine. As he currently runs in that 12th place position. Wayne Hopkins in the 00 just behind him in 13th. Stephen Bird just inside the top 14, or the top 15 in that 14th place position. And the Napa Know-How, piloted by Ralph Falciano Jr. or Sr., currently rounds out the top 15 as they currently run right now. Send it back up to the point. It has been all Donald Hickson as he commands here. Working now lap 14. The scheduled 200 here. See the field starting to get single file spread out a little bit. You know, not only does that keep the rest of having an on-track incident down, but it also gives you time to react as a driver. You know, a lot of seasoned veterans, you know, in this league that make this field tonight. And they know you cannot win it on lap one. And what does that mean? Well, you got to stay out of the incidences. Don't put yourself in a bad position. And also, if you can, give yourself that window of safety. And one of the ways to do that is to have some separation between the race cars. Remember, these Gen 4 cars, they make all the power. They got some serious boogie under the hoodie. So things happen quick, fast, and in a hurry. The more real estate you have between yourself, the car in front of you, the car behind you, the quicker you can react and keep yourself out of harm's way should something spark off on the racetrack. Let's go on board with the leader, Hickson Jr. See how he gets around this 1.5 mile facility. Must have a lot of discipline here on the loud pedal with the throttle. It's nothing like the current next-gen car with half the horsepower. You can really be sloppy with it. You can throw your foot in it. This car, you do that, it will make you pay. Best way I can, let's see if this feature works. And see if we can pull up the driver telemetry here. Let's get this screen out of the way. And you can see the steering wheel input right there. Just trying to show you guys the throttle and brake control as to just how gingerly he was inputting those commands to that race car. Come back to that feature later on, see if we can get that working properly. However, I can't show you the speed, and he is turning it up turn and burn style right now. Bottom right-hand corner. Has it in that fourth gear, that money gear. Across the start-finish line north of 180 miles an hour. Going to cap almost at 190, and I can promise you on a fresh set of Dr. Feelgoods, it'll be at speeds close to 195 miles an hour here as he fires down the backstretch. I'll tell you what, Robnett starting to run him down. You peek out the GoPro camera here to see exactly what I mean. He's starting to get a face forward. As Tops never stops applying the pressure to you out on the racetrack. See that Dodge starting to do the dance off the corner there. This car is famous for that. If you're a fan of Gen 4, you love having to get up on the wheel and drive this thing. As the 09 now closes in. This battle for the lead is going to start to heat up here momentarily. Hickson to start to feel the pressure coming from the 9 ride. You can see that he has picked up the pace out there on the racetrack. He picked it up about a tenth that last lap. So perhaps Hickson was saving a little bit. But now look for him to turn that wick up as he is now being chased down by that Intrepid behind him. Third place. He could play a factor in this before long here. Is Gray actually the fastest car on the racetrack? Last time by, he ran a 31.10 to the leader's 31.20. Oftentimes we talk about comers and goers, especially as this racetrack changes, it takes rubber. How much sun it gets is going to change the track temperature. And sometimes if you fire off fast, that's not necessarily a good thing either. Because you got to be there, you got to survive and be alive. You got to have a fast car to compete at the end of these things. Being good on the long run helps as well. And as we're almost 25 laps in, you're starting to see some of the masters of saving tires. The long run boys, if you will. Kyle Gray, Robnett, Stoney Benfield. Just out of this picture as he continues to run in fifth. In fact, all top 5 drivers run where they've started, no change inside the top 5. Is now Hickson's going to go up to the high side, the Kyle Larson line on the high side of the racetrack. Here we go for the lead. Chevrolet on Dodge action here for the lead. Hickson found a little bit of speed up there on the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. As he now stretches it back out. By almost 4/10 of a second now. Hickson running a defensive line here, trying to throw as much dirty air at that 9 and take his preferred line away in the process. Gap cuts down a little bit as the 30.29 to a 30.23. The 09 quicker that lap, and you see him now closing the distance. Now the 9's going to go top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. He's going to get a piece of the fence. That's going to cost him second place potentially. What a great recovery there by the 9. I thought for sure Kyle Gray was going to chew him up and eat him for lunch for that position, but not the case. Top 3 are almost evenly spaced out right now, about 2 car lengths between them. Just as I say that now, the leader stretches it out to 3. As we're back to 4/10 of a second. What, Hickson's doing a great job here of digging deep and just grinding it out, finding a way to maintain this lead. Every time Ken has gotten close to him, Hickson has had a solution. And as Liam Irving and I used to say, him and I had a lot of great times up here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth, is now he's going to pull the trigger again. He's going to close it in. Catching him is one thing, passing him another. Rob is ripping right now. Almost a tenth faster that lap. And it's almost like the 8 has some type of invisible force field around that race car. I mean, the 9 can get right there, and then all of a sudden, he starts getting a dose of the dirty air. That 9 gets wicked loose, or tight, excuse me, and he has to back out of it. And this is going to continue to get harder for him as these Dr. Feelgoods continue to go to, or transition towards Feel Bads. He might have him here now as Hickson opens the door. They're going to be side by side into the turns 1 and 2 complex. Ladies and gentlemen, pardon the interruption of the broadcast. We have just encountered a close proximity lightning strike. We're going to step aside here, get back to the live action here momentarily. I'm also going to take my blood pressure medication as I am currently scraping myself off the floor of the broadcast booth. We'll be back in just a moment right here on Redline Racing Network. Race fans, welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway as Mother Nature just decided to unleash some fireworks of her own here. On the broadcast side of things, we are back reconnected as we now rejoin the competition here. This Dynasty Racing League out there on the racetrack doing battle as always, prime time, Saturday night fashion. Good evening, and once again, Matt Metler up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. Is green flag pit stops just completed out there on the racetrack. Let's see if we can go ahead and get the ticker back up there on the screen for you folks at home so you can follow along, and there we go. Of course, the connection decided in fashion to bomb out just as the battle for the lead was heating up. As you can see now, the 9 of Robnet now leads. He carries the torch for the first time this evening, up one position from where he started. Tell you what, a guy that has a rocket ship. That Miller High Life machine is doing things out there. Having a stellar performance here in the early going. As he currently now up 2 positions in that second place position. Kyle Gray even with the board in third. The commander of the early going, Donald Higston Jr. in that 8 machine. Currently rolls in that fourth place position now. As he was last down on pit road on lap 40. Roughly 9 laps to go. Kenny, my son's favorite Thompson, into 22. Great looking paint scheme. The master of chaos out there on the racetrack. Currently under pressure from the faster pastor as he's trying to preach right now out there on the racetrack. Stoney Benfield starting to turn up the excitometer inside the cockpit. The North Carolina man, trust me, folks, has the plan. So you're currently having a great running just outside the top 5 in that 6th place position. Well, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. This man has been on a tear. Picking up right where he left off the last time the Dynasty Racing League put on an entire season. So many times in the conversation. Just about every week, he was in a podium or win situation. And he's backed it up in this winter series, winning multiple races thus far. However, he's mired a little bit back in traffic tonight. He has his work cut out for him. But do not count out this 88. So many times. We thought that it was just, he was too far out of arm's reach. And he just gets up on the wheel, finds a way to get the job done. And knows when to turn it on in the late going of these races, especially in this Gen 4 car. Brandon Broby. Milwaukee Tools 45 machine. Up 7 positions from where he started. He is the biggest mover of this race. Last time by, ran a 30.84. Pandolf having a good showing here from Bad Luck Racing. Things got a little exciting for him out there on the racetrack as he found himself in the hornet's nest a couple times out there. Had to get skinny. Close quarters racing for him. Almost 3 wide at one point. Let's go on board with the man, the myth, the legend, James Pandolf. Try to be as smooth as possible. Oh, look at that. Big time loose coming out of floor, and that is a slick spot on this racetrack. Especially with the way the sun's hitting this asphalt right now, heating up this racetrack. You can see him. Currently has a little offset dialed into that race car, but let's watch him as he comes out of floor again. As he found the last time by where the Waffle House dumped the bacon grease. A lot smoother that time, but that last lap, oof. May have been a Code Brown moment for the driver of the 74. He tries to find his rhythm. Really like the way he attacks this complex right here. See him lift there. Back into the throttle gingerly. And look at how much respect he has for that horsepower and torque as he puts his foot back in it and calls all that power back to life down the straightaway. Probably one of the drivers in this series, I think, that doesn't get enough credit. Oftentimes, Lady Luck not on his side, though, hence the team name, Bad Luck Racing. But when things go his way, he is always a factor, and do not count him out on a super speedway race. I had the pleasure of running with him at Daytona a couple months ago, and he had me holding on for dear life. I couldn't feel my forearms, my hands halfway through the race. The pace he was trying to keep me running. He almost pushed me to a win. Bad Daytona things happen, but telling you, don't sleep on this guy right here, James Pandolf. Currently runs in that 9th place position. Running out your top 10, David Keisha. Jackson man from New Jersey. Out here vibing right now. Longtime Matt Kenseth fan, hence the paint scheme on the race car, the Killer Bee scheme made famous in the early 2000s. Dave, no surprise, biggest mover of the race in that 10th place position. So we now widen things out for you folks as we go on board through the top 10. Robnet looking like Skynet out there. The Tops 9 machine. He's hauling all the fresh produce right now at the front of this thing. Got some serious boogie under the hoodie. You know, things out there on the racetrack under green flag conditions have gotten a little strung out. Let's go ahead and turn things over right now to the live side of things right here in the youtube.com live chat. Want to shout out Barbara for chiming in. Let's go. Faster Pastor 75, Stony Binfield, says she has an extra hour of sleep tonight, so no excuse not to be at church in the morning to hear Stony preach about Jesus. That's right. Barbara calling everyone out right here, right now. You better be front and center tomorrow morning. Because not only does Stony Benfield perform very well and preach out here on the racetrack, he's going to be live tomorrow morning. And oftentimes his congregation, church members show up here and cheer him on the iRacing side of things. Has a great fan base, and we love it when you guys and you're like Barbara show up and cheer him on here tonight in prime time. Tom checking in as well. Tom, great to have you here. Thanks for joining us on Redline Racing Network as you're in store for some great high-flying, high-octane Gen 4 racing action brought to you by the Dynasty Racing League Winter Series. Got a favorite driver? Shout him out, sound off. We'll get them some more screen time. And oftentimes with these drivers, no, you're in here cheering for them. They tend to turn the wick up a little bit out there on the racetrack as well. 66 laps written into the books of the scheduled 200. We're going to step aside for our first all-out Turn It Up coverage break. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to miss anything right here on Redline Racing Network. Race fans, welcome back to Redline Racing Network. Coming out of the all-out, all-access, full-blown coverage break here. Brought to you by Strategic Alliance Partner, Black Magic. Well, what is Black Magic? They're our official design paint scheme partner here on the broadcast side of things, and they can help put some serious vibe in your ride. In fact, get out of the static. Go see the guys at Black Magic. David Dunwoody and the guys make you a one-of-a-kind, 100% authentic design And remember, it's good for 2/10 out there on the racetrack. Better yet, tell them DRL sent you. That is the one and only Black Magic. Now send it back up to the point. That Tops Market Mesquite is bringing all the ghost peppers here tonight as he's got some heat in the rear tires and under the hood. And he has really checked it out right now. I mean, in fact, he's got 2 or 3 counties between him and the rest of the competition. I mean, 5 seconds, that's an eternity out there, especially at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Take a look here at the time delta, and you can see how he has just stretched it out. That gap continues to grow. Is now over 5 seconds for Ken, the Mean Machine. With a name like RobNet, Skynet, yeah, we're going with the Mean Machine for Ken here in the 09. We approach now lap 77. Let's go ahead, check back in on the weather. Oh, we got big time problems. Are you kidding me? It just got real in the neighborhood. That's probably the don't stain your ride, use Tide moment of the race. Is pit road jump out and bit Ken Robnet. Are you serious? This guy had it on cruise control. No incident was logged in the black box, so we're going to have to go ahead and take manual control here. We go VHS mode. Roll this tape back. Watch this. It's going to look like a VCR here, folks. Pardon me for that, but we got to take another look at this. Trying to get all he can here on the entry to pit road. As we slow it down now. Tries to be very aggressive here. The back of that race car just steps out to lunch. He's going to go full-blown John Deere mode here. Catch the grass. Punt the commitment cone. And that could be a penalty as well if he didn't get popped for speeding. Tragedy almost struck there big time on the entry to pit road under green flag conditions. Just when you think things were calm on the racetrack, whew, it got rowdy. And now being confirmed by race control, the 9 is going to get a commitment cone penalty violation. Disaster has officially struck in the 9 camp. I cannot believe it. That now is going to move your leader all the way back to the 13th place position. That 5-second lead evaporated. I mean, poof, gone. As he is now going to have to get up on the wheel and make things happen the hard way. Trust me, if anyone's doing the caution dance right now, it's the driver of the 09 ride. But I mean, throughout the course of the season, they have been so far few and in between. Technically, the start of this race, it was a wave off. Those weren't actual cautions for incident, even though it took 3 times to get going. That was not due to an incident on the racetrack, so those technically don't count in this category, in this statistic. So as we shuffle the deck, that's going to put Farnsworth Jr. at the helm. Gary gobbling up the positions here, up 3 to the good. As it's High Times inside the High Life machine as he's out there rolling right now. Almost deja vu as Farnsworth almost has a 5-second advantage over the second place car of Kyle Gray. They're in that second place position. Hickson And that camoed out Bud machine. He was your pole sitter and took off like a banshee on that initial start. I mean, he checked out. He was gone. May have pushed it a little too hard on those Dr. Feelgoods. Prematurely wore out on him. That car became a handful. And now he is back on the recovery drive as he now finds himself in that final money position in third. The master of chaos, Kenny Thompson. In that Monte Carlo. In the Chaos Machine Special. Currently owns fourth. Now, the 9 ride there, unfortunately, this is not her position as he did go a lap down. So he's trying to go up there right now, Babe Ruth style, and do this the hard way. Ooh, he got tight there off the top in the dirty air of the 22. The last thing you want to do here now, if you're the driver of that 909 machine, is force yourself to make a mistake. Oh, is this close quarters, up close and personal. Almost took it to the grass. You can see the urgency. Oh, my. And the 22 goes up and kisses the fence, self-inflicted concrete poisoning. That is going to cost him a ton of momentum as he gets that car back underneath him. As we now go back to this battle, not for position on the racetrack, as the 9 continues to try and charge back towards the front to unlap himself after just disaster struck on entry to pit road. As he challenges now to get by the 8 machine. Hickson holds down third. But remember, there is a lot of real estate between the top 3 as that Dodge now pokes his nose to the inside. He's going to send it in, Eaton on the bottom here. The 8 makes the veteran decision there, lifts the throttle, understands currently what's going on inside the 9 camp, also on fresher tires. As the 9 continues to blast on. Battle up at the front, though. Barnsworth continues to carry the torch. Here in the heart of North Carolina, western side of the state, just outside of Charlotte, Concord the place. So many NASCAR towns call this area of the country home. So many teams based right around this area, and quite frankly, heavily impacted by Hurricane Helene. Not so much right here in Concord, but areas just to the south and west. Some places wiped from existence. As they continue their recovery efforts. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, we haven't talked much about him tonight. But this guy right here, he has had all the right moves, placed all the right bets, and is just executed at such a high level so far throughout the course of this winter season. Multiple race wins always seems to be a factor. But an uncharacteristic qualifying effort here. Started back in the field here, and he's had to earn it. He's had to fight his way for every position he's gained out there thus far. He is 5 to the good, and now he's cracked the top 5. And as that ticker scrolls on the top of that screen, folks, you can see there's multiple drivers here, one or two laps down. We've had a couple drivers retire, including Jackson in the 85, Hopkins in the 00, Bryce, one of my favorite brewers. Rollins, I'm actually up here in the broadcast booth, and Tyler is out. But where I'm going with this is you can see Gray is 2 seconds back. Hickson, almost 8. Thompson, over 9. Butcher Benjamin has almost 11 seconds between himself and the leader. That's basically a quarter of a lap. However, Benjamin is turning the fastest laps out there on the racetrack, with 31:13 the last time by. Your leader, last lap of 31:30. As we now quickly approach the halfway point of this race. He comes up there in that Hendrick Cars 85 machine. Being piloted by Cy Jackson. As he currently runs in that 15th place position. Now send it back up to the front. David Cation just next car to fall victim of going a lap down there in the Killer Bee 17th. That is that 9th place position. So now only 8 cars remain on the lead lap. That's the type of pace that's being put up by these front runners. I mean, Cation, no slouch. Spends a lot of his time on the iRacing.com servers piloting this Gen 4 beast. See, currently now, 1 lap off the pace. Biggest mover of the race, though, in that 9th place position. Next car, fighting for his life on the lead lap, that's going to be Brandon Broby in the 45 Milwaukee Tools machine. Ooh, he got loose there. Did you see that quick twitch of the wrist there? Get that car back pointed straight. Some of the reaction time these drivers have when you're on board. Just crazy how quick. Oh, he just did the big time power slide there. Brandon Broby looking like it's drift mode competition on a Friday night. Let's go on board with the 45. So I have a feeling he is doing some big time battle with the steering wheel right now inside the cockpit. Oh my God. He almost had that thing pointed at the fence. Sends it in on the high side. You can see him trying not to troll that throttle pedal. Gets a little piece of the wall there. Catches. Oh, save it, save it. I knew he was loose. I didn't think he was out there trying to drive this race car in an ice skating rink. That car is bad ugly. Almost 9,000 RPM. And Broby is having a manhandle this machine. Oh, gets a piece of the wall there. You know what? I do not want to invoke the broadcaster's curse on this guy. We're going to go anywhere but with Broby right now, as that force is usually strong with me. I did it 3 times last night. The minute I started talking about a driver, they put it in the fence. Something we call the broadcaster's curse, and unfortunately, one of the things I am not famous for. I am not happy about being famous for. We check back in with Hickson. Look here at the pit strategy vector here. You can see Hickson. Currently 21 laps on this stint on those shoes. Freshest tires inside the top 3. The main thing is the real estate, the distance. 3.34 seconds. The second place car. And almost another 3 seconds from Farnsworth to Kyle Gray. Is the 78 able to take over the lead here? Kyle Gray, up-and-coming driver in the series. He's had moments out there that were promising, showed a lot of poise. Moments of greatness this season. Now, able to put it all together in that Impala. The C's out there, leading the way on the scoring pylon and on the racetrack. Officially here. Now over 102 laps officially written in the history books as these drivers currently working on lap 103. Things have dialed down just a little bit as we're in the middle of this race. Things are strung out courtesy of, once again, long green flag run here. We're going to step aside, pay some bills. We'll be back momentarily with the resuming coverage of the DRL 200 right here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Race fans, good evening and welcome back to Redline Racing Network. As the nighttime is the right time for DRL in prime time. Pit stop's just underway and right on cue, here comes Kyle Gray, your leader, heading down pit road. Good execution there, able to keep it right dab smack in the center line. If you remember, the 09 ride had a commanding lead in this race until he came down to pit and it all just went disastrous on him. JP there in his pit box. The 74 machine. Oh! The 78 has a miscue of his own. He blew the box. Pit crew cannot come over the wall, cannot start service on that race car until he is inside the box down and away here for the 78. And that will cost him some time there on pit road. Quick stop though. However, it's those little miscues like that that we just see that can oftentimes cost these drivers a win to now send it back out onto the racetrack. While all that was happening, that did transfer the lead to Hickson. However, he relinquishes the lead as he comes down pit road. Service completed. He is down and away. Farnsworth Jr. now continues, or now your leader, I should say. He was last down on lap 109. So that's going to cycle him now back to the lead in the 42K. Kyle Gray in the 78. Even with that bobble there, overstepping the boundaries, had to throw it in reverse. Going to gridlock himself in that second place position. However, I talked about the amount of time that cost him on the racetrack. Farnsworth Jr. now leads by over 5.3 seconds. And that might as well be another county as far as the distance is concerned. These drivers putting on a great show here this evening. The initial start of the race had a couple bugs in it. So there was some confusion with the restart zone here and also the notification lights out there on the racetrack being the legacy version. After we got that squared away, it has been lean, mean, and green since the drop of the green flag. Take a look here at the time delta. You can see that gap, shrinking little by little here as Kyle Gray does have fresher shoes, and those do make a big factor out here, especially when you have a race car like the Gen 4 that has all the power under the hood. You know, this Gen 4 car, big part of the boom, the catalyst that made NASCAR's golden era what it was. Today's modern car, the next gen, has half the power. So this, if you're not used to driving this race car, I mean, it is extremely challenging. Oftentimes that next gen car, you get relaxed. I don't want to say necessarily sloppy with the throttle pedal, but there's a lot more give. There's a lot more give there. This race car here, you push it, you better hope those wheels are pointed straight. If you're not careful, you'll be space shuttle status, and that's not an overreaction. Taylor Butcher Benjamin was getting some love in the YouTube chat. Let's go ahead, throw the camera on the 88 machine. Again, want to thank everyone for chiming in tonight. Tom Freeman says he likes the line the 88 is taking. Let's go, TBB. And I agree with you, Freeman. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, well, first and foremost, thanks for being here tonight with us. We appreciate you being here for all the live action. To your point about his line, Taylor Butcher Benjamin knows how to attack these mile-and-a-half racetracks. In fact, he's good just about any type of racing surface you put him on. I want to shout him out for joining us here, cheering on the 88 in the live chat. In fact, let's go on board with Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Do a closer look at the way he gets around this 1.5 mile over. Pennsylvania man often has the play. Eating hard there on the bottom. Commands the power. That car's in a slingshot out towards the wall as he rockets down the backstretch. Sends it into the 3 and 4 complex there. You see a little bit of the corrective input there. The race car really likes to get loose there, coming out of 4. Benjamin makes it look easy. Curious about the type of speeds he's currently running. Let's throw up. It's onboard telemetry. Ooh, a little bobble there off the corner. Pushes it through the floorboards, almost 192. Before he's back on the binders a little bit, back into the corner. Watch when he squeezes the trigger, though. You see how much wheel he has to put in that race car to keep that thing straight from stepping up from underneath it. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, one of the best of the business to do it. So thankful to have him out here in the competition tonight. Hasn't been a dominant force per se this evening like he typically is. But oftentimes, like I said, if you're in Las Vegas, I mean, you can call all in, high stakes on this guy. And that's never a bad bet if you're going with the 88. Check in with Stoney Benfield, the faster pastor. Call 811.com. Every dime, every time. The faster pastor. Currently just outside the top 5 in that 6th place position. Donna cheering him on in the chat earlier. And again, right now, this field is really strung out right now. In fact, if we widen the camera out here, I mean, it almost looks like we're doing time trials. There goes Stoney across the start-finish line. There's James Pandolf. Probably one of the closer battles here on the racetrack is this group of cars, this cluster right here. James Pandolf, Brandon Broby, no surprise. Because those two guys are almost like magnets out there on the racetrack. And Ken Robnett on that massive recovery drive is... I thought he had this, what I was seeing out of him earlier. I thought he may have been a lock for the win on this race until reality came up and snake bit him. On entry to pit road as he went John Deere mode through the grass, hit the commitment cone, got a penalty. For some of these drivers, they really need help, and that's in the form of a caution, which we rarely see. It's hard to even fathom that, given just how difficult it is to drive this race car. But again, when you have a group of drivers this good, they rarely make those types of mistakes out there on the racetrack, even with all that thunder. Robnet continues to be second fastest car in the racetrack. The problem is well, for one, he's a lap off the pace. And two, there's just so much real estate between him and the other competitors out there on the racetrack right now. Gray leads. Farnsworth is running him down, though. Send it back up here to the point as we have a potential battle for the lead starting to brew here on Redline Racing Network. There's Gray. And here's the 42. Starting to close him in, reel him in. 42 definitely has him in his sights. And the Hunty now becoming the Hunted as here comes Donald Hickson Jr. He's peeking to the inside. Gonna send it in there like grandma's business. Can he put the power down coming off the corner? He can. The 42 gives him plenty of real estate to work with. Check the box, move Hickson back to that number 2 position as the second and third place. Oh, 85 got in the fence. That almost could have been disastrous, as it's so easy for that car to come back down the racetrack. It just got real hot and heavy inside the cockpit of the 8. I can promise you that. Farnsworth now finds himself in third. Because all of that was able to play to the favor of the hand of Kyle Gray as he now stretches that lead back out to almost 0.8 of a second. You can see him flaring off there into the corner, kind of running that middle lane, that middle line. As Hickson's usually pretty committed to the bottom here. And just as I say that, the 78 now goes back to the bottom, trying to find a little more pace in that 78. Hickson does have the freshest shoes. Not by much, by a lap or two. This racetrack, this legacy version with all this horsepower and torque, acts like a cheese grater on these Goodyears. It wears them out quick, fast, and in a hurry, folks. Hickson starts to close back in. And remember, these laps are starting to wind down as well. It's 139. Officially being written in to the history books as we now move on to lap 140. And Hickson has lit the afterburner. Here he comes. Let's go on board with him as he runs down the leader. And see him out the front windshield. Oh, the 45, look out! What in the world? I'm not sure what happened to Brandon Broby there, but whoo! Hickson went by him like he was standing still. Thank God he was. Oh, don't spin out, buddy. Don't lose it. Because that's how fast things can happen out there on the racetrack. It's like a scene out of Talladega Nights, where Ricky Bobby gets back in the car, the other cars go flying by him, and he goes, "What was that?" So 45 is way off the pace there. That dirty air now coming off for the leader of 78. That's why I always say catching them is one thing, passing them another. Car starting to get tight now as Hickson tries to close in the gap. That lead is stabilized. 0.25 tenths of a second. As you see Stoney Benfield there coming off of pit road, some smoke up ahead. And he just cannot penetrate that bubble. As this race car, all that dirty air starts to get tight, starts to plow, or snap loose. Watch him as rides down the Hicks, throws it down to the corner here. Really loose there, but that lap before, he was putting a lot of wheel in it. I mean, I talked about fresh shoes. Look at Stoney Benfield. I mean, he's just passing these guys like he's got 1,000 horsepower and all-wheel drive, making it look like there's not even a contest. That's the power of fresh Goodyear Eagles. Trust me, Stoney doesn't want to be any part of this battle for the lead. He's trying to check out, and there he goes. There goes the tops machine. Is he going to be able to get back on the lead lap here? As we're side by side between the 8 and the 78. And a slingshot with a Louisville slider move on the bottom. Donald Hickson has done it. Your pole sitter now back to the point. Ken Roblet. Or Robnet, excuse me. Big storyline of this race right here, especially in the early going. I mean, this guy was winning everything. Car was like a slot car out there on the racetrack. That thing was on rails, and it was ripping, and it still is. As it gets around the 74, being piloted by James Pandolf. And then, like something out of a movie, a dark black beauty cloud just appeared over that race car as he tried to put it on pit road. And things went bad, quick, fast, and in a hurry. I believe the 9 is still one lap down. As he now comes up on Mad Max at EA Sports. EA Sports. It's in the game. Throwback from that era when EA had the NASCAR licensing. And as you can see there in the scoring ticker, Robnet still one lap down. Just doesn't seem like he's going to be able to overcome that pit road miscue. Haven't mentioned him much. I don't want to invoke the broadcaster's curse on this man, but from Bad Luck Racing, the Moo Crew. He's got the Hawkins coming to the front. Pandolf really starting to come to life here. Up to that third place position. I was talking about him earlier. Probably one of the more underrated drivers that I know. And a lot of times he's just got a lot of bad luck, hence Bad Luck Racing. But when things go his way, he had a couple dicey moments out there on the racetrack, but no damage to that race car. Been able to execute well on pit road. That car continues to get better as that sun now begins to set. That track temp comes down. Comers and goers. However, he's got his work cut out for him. Here comes James Pandolf down pit road. He almost pulls a page out of the Nines playbook. Barely makes the commitment code. This is going to be the money stop. Or should be the money stop here for the 74. He locks it into his bot cleanly. Oh, he has to back it up. The front splitter was on the line. See the Jackman now going to work. Fresh Dr. Feelgood's going on to Kansas Sunoco Racing Fuel, and Pandolf is down and away. Usually it's come one, come all, and right on keel. Here comes your leader, Donald Hickson Jr. He is now on pit road, possibly for the final time this race. Clean. That's how you get it in the box there. Don't have to put it in reverse. No extra time. Now it's all about his pit crew here and his launch. You see the 96, there goes the 8. Down and away. Back up to speed as he is off and back out on the racetrack. This all cycles. I should say this process now cycles the Master of Chaos, a.k.a. the Chaos Machine, Kenny Thompson. In that 22. Impact paint scheme on that race car. Love the colors on it. I believe he told Derek Farnsworth to keep it high. Talking about his line on the racetrack. However, Kenny Thompson, can he go the distance? He was last down on pit road lap 139. Farnsworth on much fresher shoes just behind him here. Last time by a 31.02 to a 30.73. Hickson Jr., however, just put up his fastest lap of the race. A 29.86, so he has really lit the wick. Final pit stops complete here from Lowe's Motor Speedway. We're going to step aside and take our final commercial break of the race. We'll be back with the conclusion of the DRL Legacy 200 right here momentarily on Redline Racing Network. Race fans, welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway, the legacy version on the iRacing.com servers, as we are currently in the trenches and in the late going of this race, as the battle is heating up once again between Kyle Gray and Donald Hickson. Gray has the lead, Hickson wants it. Once again, he is caught. Now he's got to find a way around him. Big move here by the 8. He's going to give it all the biscuits there into the corner. Can he make it stick? And he does. One lap tire difference between those two drivers, and that advantage goes to Hickson. Your pole sitter has found a way back to the front. Again, want to thank everyone for tuning in here tonight in the Redline Racing Network live YouTube chat. Appreciate the support and everyone showing up here tonight to catch a piece of the high-flying, high-octane racing action. Has been once again lean, mean, and green since the initial start of this race, which was a bit of an oddity if you ask me. Some confusion. The initial start got waved off. In fact, we had to go try it 3 times before we got it right. But after that, it has been all green flag, no sign of a yellow. You couldn't buy one. Couple drivers wish they'd get one right now. Trust me, I can promise you that. "30 laps remaining. Hickson now enjoys a little over a half-second lead as he was able to take down the 78 and move him back to that second-place position. Gary Farnsworth continues to have a very strong run here tonight, flexing some muscle here at Charlotte. Taylor Butcher Benjamin has clawed his way up to 4th. Second biggest mover of the race, once again holding that title. Dave Acacia right here, who almost finds himself, oh my God, can't talk, finds himself almost smothered and covered by those Waffle House hash browns just behind him. Dave does so much behind the scenes. League admin does a lot with the point standings, making sure all the drivers got everything they need from week to week. Want to thank him for all the hard work and dedication here, and the effort, the amount of time he dedicates to the Dynasty Racing League. Getting a report here on the radio that one of the drivers may have froze. One of the things that can plague us in the sim racing realm. Silent but deadly killer at times. Kyle Gray looks to put it now on cruise control. I believe the driver that froze was Donald Hickson Jr. I don't believe it. Deja vu all over again. The 8 had taken the lead. His computer froze up, got black flagged. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe what has happened here tonight. Not once, but twice. The Farmer's Fresh Machine Tops Markets car Was doing everything right out there until he had a pit road miscue. Then, Hickson, your pole sitter, able to charge back, take the lead. Seemed like he had all the cards laid right. And then disaster strikes in the form of his simmering. As Hickson now finds himself mired back in 5th. The leader of this race seems to have found ways to be snake bitten in multiple different ways at times tonight. Kyle Gray hoping to break the cycle. As he now leads, and look who's in second. The Moo Crew man, James Paddock. Bad luck racing, no luck racing. Well, tonight, perhaps the tides have turned. Oh, Jesus, hold on to it, brother. Oh, that's twice. Heavens to Betsy. Woo, someone may need to come down pit road for a new race suit when this one's over. As that was almost a guaranteed date with the outside retaining wall. As he was able to gather that race car back up. Like I was saying, having a great run here in P2 tonight. One of his best showings so far of this Winter Series. Farnsworth as well. Really turning it up here today, this evening, tonight, in primetime. And then the 8th, the heartbreak. The I don't believe what just happened. Because he had the leaf and his machine made him cough it up. He gets snake bitten by the voodoo bug. Ken Robnett, the Mean Machine, up to 5th. This has been a heck of a recovery drive out of the 9 ride. Technically, it's the 09. I mean, the 0 is very small, but it is there. Currently turning up the pressure, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. As he does so well, especially in the late going of these races here. Robnett does the jig there, doesn't really challenge Butcher Benjamin there for the slot. His last time by, Benjamin just ran a 30.04 to Robnett's 9.7, so almost a second difference there. Is Ken staying out on old shoes? Mad Max coming down pit road in the EA Sports throwback ski. So he's going to give up that 9th place position here. Perhaps trying to roll the dice there on a long run strategy, saying if he could get a caution. Doesn't seem to be the case here. Stoney Benfield. That car is so clean, it looks like it just came out of the showroom. You wouldn't know it almost ran 200 laps here. Now that's one of his calling cards. Never tears up his equipment or tries not to. Exercises patience when he needs to and knows how to turn up the wick when it's go time. Brandon Broby, veteran of the series in the 45, Milwaukee machine. Want to thank him for being out there in competition tonight. Oh, he gets a little bit of a bobble there. So he currently holds on to a top 10 performance right now in ninth. As the Chaos Machine rounds out the top 10. Farnsworth somehow finds his way to the top of the podium. You see a little bit of damage there on the corner of that fender. As that's kicked in a little bit. However, doesn't seem to be impacting the performance of that race car too much. As Kyle Gray has the best shoes of any driver inside the top 3. He was last down pit road on lap 181. So 10 laps difference in tires. 3 seconds the distance. Last time by, Kyle Gray ran a 29.75. The Farnsworth Jr.'s 30.93. Oh, this is going to get interesting. Kyle Gray should catch the 42, but how much of his tire does he use getting to catch the 42? Let's widen this out. Kyle Gray just out of view here. However, he is coming like a rocket man. He has lit the afterburner. Let's go on board with the 78. You can see Farnsworth Jr. just in front of him now. .192 miles an hour into the corner. He has got this dial set to kill. Using the benefit of those 10-lap fresher tires, he is there. He is on the back bumper of the 42. He has caught him. Now, don't. Oh, he almost. I need a minute, folks. As I got to scrape myself off the floor. But Kyle Gray going to go to the lead with almost avoiding near disaster. As he put that car down on the flatlands. Off the banking there. Great way to upset the balance of that race car. My heart popped out of my chest. Kyle Gray. I mean, he ran him down like by a Sidewinder missile. Just incredible closing speed. And that's just how big the tires are here, folks. You know, I mentioned it a couple times here, but you got it was a great example there. I mean, it was almost no contest. There's now 10 laps remain. These drivers have fought through the trenches, the highs and lows out there on the racetrack. The winner tonight is going to have to be perfect. Avoid making big mistakes. And that's exactly what Kyle Gray has done. Pit road hasn't jumped up and bit him. No extracurricular activities out there on the racetrack. Didn't find any landmines. Didn't find a way to self-inflict his performance out there, and thus shines the way. I know we're 8 laps to go here, but look who is in third. I told you, folks, never count this guy out. Taylor Butcher Benjamin. I mean, grinding it out here. 7 positions to the good, tied for the second biggest mover of the race. Again, that title belongs to David Keisha in 10. With 7 laps to go for the first time tonight, Butcher Benjamin finds himself in the podium in the top 3. As the Rocket Man here in the late going, Kyle Gray. Probably going to feel like an eternity for these last 6 laps. This is that point in time where that spotter, that crew chief, needs to get on the radio and tell him, look, you got almost 10 seconds between yourself and the second place car. Back it down. Run a pace that you're comfortable with. Don't overstep it. There's no reason to push it here. Handshake lap now in the air. As he sends it down the backstretch once again. Is his lead almost now 10 seconds? I mean, he has lit the candle. $30.86 to Farnsworth's $31.68. I mean, he is almost a full second faster than first and second place right now. And that is all a big part of the tire strategy when he came down pit road. As he comes off the 3 and 4 complex once again, 3 laps now remain. Less than 6 miles to go in this one. Last thing you want to see here is a caution flag. Could you imagine if we got a caution flag right now? That's the type of things there that make drivers just rage quit or self-inflict harm to every piece of sim racing equipment you own. Tick to tick. The clock continues to tick down here. What a run. What a drive from Kyle Gray this evening. One more time by. The final lap, white flag in the air. Kyle Gray going to send it in the middle of 1 and 2. He's going to salute the fans as he fires down the backstretch for the final time this evening. Going to salute the fans in the RV stands and in the camping parking lot. Into the 3 and 4 complex for the final time. Kyle Gray is going to come off of turn 4, and he is going to be a winner in the Dynasty Racing League as Kyle Gray gets it done here in Charlotte, North Carolina. He is the winner of the DRL Legacy 200. Congratulations, Kyle Gray. What a drive. Apologize for that background commentary. Gary Farnsworth with a great run here. Comes home second. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in third. We're going to speak with our top 3 drivers here, as we do each and every time, right here on Redline Racing Network. Send it back to Kyle Gray here, as he is going to get it done. Going up against great competition, able to put it in the victory lane. Give them a chance to celebrate with their teams. Is James now commanding traffic here? We wait to speak to our top 3 finishers here tonight. third place finisher. See if he's available for an interview. Now joining me in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth, coming home with a third place finish yet again this evening, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. A heck of a grinding job out there by you tonight, man. How are you able to just put your foot in it and just drive the wheels off that race car and come home with a third place finish tonight? It didn't seem like it was easy for you this evening, my friend.
You described it pretty well, and I mean, definitely didn't have the speed to run with Kyle and the 42, and even Donald, and even the 09, of course, but guys up front kept having some issues, and other than the very first lap, fortunately didn't get that much damage out of that, and got it fixed up, and it still ran decent. I mean, I had probably fifth place speed at the very most, but attrition sometimes takes over, and I just made myself, made sure I just didn't make any dumb mistakes myself, and it was a very, I'll kind of chalk it up as a lucky P3, but take him any way I can get, especially when not getting any practice.
Hey, that's right. Coming in here blind, almost no prep, throwing it out there on the racetrack and coming home third. And like I said, you had to earn this one, man. You talked about, the attrition out there on the racetrack, and it was almost like, deja vu for the leader, of this race, the 09 ride in the early going. It seemed like he was a slot car out there on the racetrack, laying all the cards right. And then all of the sudden, bad things happened on his pit stop. He went Baja mode, smacked the commitment cone, got a penalty, and that ultimately ended his day. You didn't make those types of mistakes out there. You executed when you needed to execute. You progressively got quicker out there on the racetrack and were able to just drive the wheels off that thing to a solid third place finish. You mentioned the initial start of that race. I'm still trying to piece together what happened. It seemed like the initial start got waved off, and then it took a couple times. DA, could you give us a little more insight what happened at the top of the broadcast there at the start of the race?
So there was a little confusion as far as guys not knowing where the restart zone is because it was the legacy version. So we just kind of took the first lap slow just to say, oh, that's where the spot is. And then, we just agreed to do one slow lap to start and then go on the second lap. And the 7 car said he had, first off, it looked like he was spinning the tires really bad. And then when it came down in front of me, I'm like, you gotta be joking. But then he said something about his computer locking up, and I guess, he didn't really continue after that. So I guess that's what happened. But luckily, only, I think it was like 12 seconds of optional, and nobody else hit me. And made the most out of what was, like you said, a challenging day.
And one of the things you do so well here, and like I said, top of the broadcast, man, it's almost like anytime you're in competition here in DRL, you can almost bet money that you're going to find a way to either win this thing or put it inside the top 3, just like you did tonight. Taylor, before I cut you loose, man, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that 88?
I just think all the dysfunctional Patriots guys and Spirit, of course, and other than, right at the start of the race, another technically caution-free event, so that's pretty cool for those guys. And, of course, thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast as well, and the fans, of course.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't easy for him tonight, but he executed flawlessly out there on the racetrack, was able to feast on other people's famine and come home with a solid third place finish. That is the driver of the 88, the one and only Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Thank you for joining me up here in the broadcast booth, bud.
Yep, see you next week at Dover, I think. And that's one of my home tracks, so hope to get a good run there.
Look forward to watching you compete, see what Miles the Monster has in store for you next week, sir.
Yep, see you then.
And that is the legendary Taylor Butcher Benjamin joining us up here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. Now, tonight, welcoming him to Victory Lane and up to the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth, Kyle Gray, you got a copy there, bud.
Yes, I do.
Well, hey, man, first and foremost, congratulations on punching your ticket here on an iconic racetrack. Walk me through this race tonight. How were you able to, one, survive and not make the pit road mistakes that we've seen a couple big-time drivers do here tonight, execute out there on the racetrack, and turn up the wick at the end to put this car into victory lane, man? What a drive.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Just at the start of the race, we just be patient a little bit and kind of let everybody go and race hard. And got to the pit road a few times and it was sketchy. Track was slick. And at the end of it, and Donald got by me at the middle of the race, and I think he had the car to win, and that sucks as his computer.
Quite get to hear what you said. But like you said, I mean, you were able to survive out there, execute when you needed to. What was it about pit road tonight that made the entry just so treacherous under green flag conditions? Was it super slick just getting on the binders there, trying to execute cleanly off the racetrack onto pit road?
Yeah, I mean, trying to run off the track, go from the track to an apron. I mean, you go from a slick track to slamming on the brakes, and it just turned everything sideways. That's why I was being patient, and yeah, that's what happens when you overspeed the pit road, and track was slick mainly.
Yeah, thanks for the excellent analysis and breakdown there, Kyle. And before I cut you loose, man, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that 78 machine?
Well, I thank my wife for letting me do this because she was sitting here cheering me on, and my buddy Ken about that. We do a lot of the chatting and a lot of practice and seat time, and finally the results paid off.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, putting on a big-time performance here in prime time tonight. Kyle Gray able to make all the right moves at the right time and really let the afterburner rip deep in the race and able to come home with a big-time win here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Congratulations, and thanks for joining me up here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. Best of luck to you next week as you go up against Miles the Monster next Saturday night here in prime time. We'll send him now back to the broadcast waiting room. I'm going to look again to see if our second place finisher is available for comment. And unfortunately, I am not seeing him in the Discord. So with that being said, it has come to that time where all good things must come to an end, including this broadcast. Want to thank all the fans, everyone for vibing with us here in the live chat this evening. And however you get this content, bringing us into your home, onto your phones. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. Make sure you get notified each and every time the Dynasty Racing League does battle out there on the racetrack. You won't miss anything here on Redline Racing Network. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor. Don't play in traffic. And we'll see you next time right here on Redline Racing Network.